amazing. I love that it's being recorded. And then we're going to get some stuff going here. Put this on mute. Taking a minute. And I'm just going to be patient with technology today. So this is just taking a little bit of a second on my end. And I know that people can see us. So, well, actually they can't. It's not actually going. Okay, let's see what's happening here. I'm going to see. I cannot see us here, which is really curious to me. So let me just reach out. Let me just reach out and see what's going on here. We'll see if this goes on here. Can you see us over there?
I'm just having a look to see if we.
Oh, okay. So thank you. Lyndon is saying she sees us. Okay, beautiful. So we're getting somewhere. This is good. It's just being kind of strange on my end and not registering except for on the Zoom. So just want to make sure. So I'll just give people a couple minutes to pop on. I'll refresh my page and see what happens on my end here and find Colin here. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, and I'm just going to refresh and see what happens. This is kind of funny that it's doing this, but not funny at all. There we are. Okay, perfect. Oh my gosh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. We made it live. I was wondering for a sec if that was even going to happen. It's actually frozen on my side, so I don't know what's happening over there. So I'm going to do the best I can to read your comments and keep this focused. This is pretty interesting to me that it's doing this, but you know, what do we do, right? So much fun. Wow. Colin and I were chatting about what is, you know, what is today going to look like? What are we going to talk about today? There's been so much coming up. There's not any one thing that we can talk about, right? It's there's literally so much to discuss and so many very fascinating and sometimes frustrating topics, you know, that are weaving into our reality currently. And so we just want to give everyone a heads up and um, hopefully bring some peace and some ease and some understanding about what we're witnessing, what we're going through, and perhaps some tools to be able to deal with that. So, gosh, welcome, Colin. I hope you brought your thermos of coffee as I did.
Yeah, I've got my pineapple juice.
Oh, and pineapple. Oh, I love pineapple juice. I always forget about that. There may be a delay in our, we may be having an excessive delay. So I'll let you. This is, oh, bless you, technology. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I don't have the patience to deal with technology.
Ah, the good news is I used to pray for patience and now I have an abundance of it, right? Um, so this is a good thing. And I'm definitely seeing us. Okay. Oh, bless, bless, bless. Okay. Here we go. And I just want to make sure, Colin, are you getting a slow feedback from me?
No,
Okay,
no,
perfect.
I can hear you, see you perfectly.
Okay, this is amazing. Okay, here we go. Wow. So I just had class. You know, we do monthly classes. And we were talking about a lot of the different things that are coming up, um, and I'd love to have a chat with you, Colin, about this. The fears that people are going through, and they're not just like an overall planetary fear. They're individualized fears, fears that people have not been clearing out, and I think that that would be a really good place for us to start. What are your thoughts on people having fears that are like not clearing for them?
Yeah. uh, Fear is really just fear of the unknown. And we're in a stage at the moment where the future is really unknown. We're not sure what's going to happen. And this is bringing up just, uh, we humans, we don't really, fear what we are afraid of is of not knowing what's going to happen. So that's why we have this habit of continuously going to the internet and looking up, our favorite gurus and finding out what they have to say. And so they kind of help those fears because they're telling us, giving us some indication of what's going to happen. But they're not really telling us what's happening. And
Right.
that's not, well, that's a broad statement. It's sometimes they're not telling us, and I don't think they actually know what's really happening, because there's so much happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of. That you know, it's almost like they're two parallel timelines running. The one is our everyday timeline. Then there's another timeline running where there's a lot happening that we're not aware of. And things like the arrests and the military uh, court cases and so on, that they're happening, but we're just not aware of them. It's like at some stage in the future, these two timelines are going to come together, but I'm not sure at what point in time we'll come into that other timeline, the parallel timeline. But I just always just assure people that they shouldn't be concerned, because we create our reality. And as long as we are comfortable with the reality that we want, we can create that reality. Waiting for things to happen uh, is what some people do. Whereas I feel I'd rather be an active participant in my own reality, in my own future. And I create that in my present moment, where I engage with my thoughts and my emotions. And I feel my feelings and feel, what are my feelings telling me? And very seldom they are telling me fear. What my feelings are generally telling me these days is that there's a lot of sadness out there, a lot of anger as well. And it's very difficult to absorb all of that, because what's happened to this planet is horrific. It's a crime against humanity. And it's been done on such a grand scale that it's almost hard for people to get their heads around it, because how do we deal with that? It was like 9/11 was a big false flag event that put people in a tiz for years. And they asked questions and about 911, and they never got any answers. The 911 commission was a con job. It never really gave us the answers we were looking for. It only looked at the Twin Towers. It didn't look at Tower 7. It didn't look at the Pentagon, at what happened at the Pentagon. And it didn't look at the other airplane that crashed. I forget where it was. And, that was supposed to have crashed. But there was nothing there on the ground. There was no plane.
Right. That one, yeah, that's the one that yeah, crashed into the other building, right?
Yeah. And, so there were a lot of unanswered questions that, I mean, 911 happened in 2001, and here we are 19 or 20 years later, and we're none the wiser. And I think that's a terrible frustration for people, because it's all, as conspiracy theory and conjecture. But we know what's going on. We understand. We know so much about what happened in 9/11, but it's never been the official narrative. And that's the problem, that the official narrative that they keep giving us is a load of nonsense.
It
And
is.
people will just have to get used to that, that because the, the the propaganda machine through the mainstream media is never going to admit what actually happened. They're never going to tell us openly what's going to happen. But there are a lot of disclosures. As I said last week, there are a lot of disclosures coming, and but we in the sense of being prepared for that, because that's why we've been kept in the dark. In fact, like mushrooms, we kept in the dark and we fed bullshit.
That's so interesting. You're bringing up mushrooms. That came up in class too about the spores and how they connect and like how, just like all of this. Gosh, I wish. I think it was maybe Lyndon, but that brought that up. But I love that this the patterns, the synchronicities that we're seeing and hooking up and linking up all of our ideas. And you're so right, Colin. This has just been devastating. And I was reading one of your posts about how you were just sobbing, and I just had myself a good cry yesterday of like I can't, and it happens. There are just times where we just have to cry for the planet, cry for humanity. And it's just, gosh, it's really challenging to witness. What we're witnessing is very, very challenging, but important to hold this resonance of healing, hold the resonance of allowing our consciousnesses to link up together to create the reality, the new reality, that it's really the real reality, right? Not the new reality. So even saying that it's a new reality just feels so it's not fitting. It's like it's waking up. It's waking up in the dream. It's waking up to see that we've been duped. And there are those of us that have spent our entire lifetimes being able to see this, our entire life, being able to see that we're being lied to. And there's nothing we can do about it because we're not bigger than the man, than the machine, right? But now we're overriding this. And there are new I call them construction bridges, but bridges to link into uh, the new ley lines, the going back to the old ways, right? Getting planet back into, my mind is like, oh, now it's like stuck in the whole like sad part. So I'm just going to have to like unwind from that for a minute, because I thought I was going to just lose it and start crying here. But but yes, oh my gosh, there's a lot of this happening, and a lot of people are feeling their old own fears, even myself included. I've been fears I thought I cleared out have come back to go, are you sure that you want to do this? Like, are you sure you really want to move forward and you want to create this new you, this new world, this new life? Are you sure you want to leave all these comforts behind? Because you don't really know what's out there. And, it's my heart that opens up and says, you know what's out there, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
have to trust my heart. And, and that's what I'm just going to share with people is trust your heart, right? And disconnect, which is more challenging than we think, but, disconnect from the false narratives.
yeah, yeah. No, I had a good sob the other day about what's going on, because I just, when I think about it, in January 2010, last year, you know, then I knew how this whole thing was going to play out. And I posted about it, and I told people that this um, thingamabob that they're creating, that is not a virus. Actually, there's no such thing as a virus. They're exosomes, which are called viruses. And exosomes are just dead material that is left in your body,
Yeah.
you know, after various parts of your body die. And they play a very important purpose in exosomes go and clear up other parts of other exosomes, and they clear the body of these viruses. And they've concocted this massive lie, and I knew it was from the Wuhan laboratory, even in January 2010, and people, just wouldn't understand what had happened. I've been told exactly what had happened and what was going to happen. And
Yeah.
sure enough, it happened. Now,
Yep.
that for me, in a sense, is also very frustrating because I know what's going to happen. I try my best to tell people this is what's going to happen. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. I knew about these inoculations that were coming up, and it's not a, it's not, it's not a vaccine. It's not. They're calling it a vaccine, but it's not. It's a genetic biogenetic experiment.
It is. It is.
And
And
it
that,
is.
that frustrates me just as much as it frustrates you, Colin. Like, I can't even stand it when you can trace it back to something and you see what's going on. And nobody, I feel like sometimes
Yeah,
can anybody hear me here? Like, please, please, God, please don't put this in your body. Don't put it in your body. Not even by their own definition is it classified as a vaccination. It's not.
yeah,
Not
no,
even by their own definition of vaccine.
yeah. And that to me, the frustration of knowing all this just got to me, and I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and you know. But I wasn't sobbing in despair. When I done started crying, I just felt so angry, and it's not anger, but it's righteous indignation
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they should do this to humanity, and so I then resolved to work even harder to destroy the thing. And my higher self paid me a visit and he said to me, I must be patient. And I said, no, I don't. It's very hard to be patient sometimes. And I said to him, he said to me, you must know what patience is. Patience is not waiting for something in somebody else's hands to happen. Patience is waiting for things that you yourself are creating to happen. That is true patience. It's
Wow.
not like waiting for a bus or a train. That's out of your hands. It's going to come. That's just waiting. True patience is when you manifest the bus or the train and you realize that that bus or train is dependent on you, not on someone outside of you. So then that is true patience. So what they were telling me is that we need to manifest the new world that we want to live in and wait for it to happen. That is exercising patience.
I love that. That is an amazing way. It puts a whole new spin on what it's like to build your architecture, right? When we talk about tearing down the demonic houses to build houses for the Christ, building, your body structures. And that's, not just your light body structures, that's, moving, that's laying down the tracks for the train to come through, right? You
Yeah,
can't, you don't have a train if you have no train tracks. So it really puts a different spin on that for me. Thank you.
yeah. So I just encourage people to really, I know it's disheartening sometimes, and I've also had a lot of people this week come to me that they're feeling different, they're getting different sicknesses and they're having different ailments. And some of them, because of COVID thing, they're not able to get any medical help from their, medical health insurance in the United Kingdom, for instance, was shut down for a long time. So people had to wait in South Africa as well. If you have some sort of medical condition that has to be dealt with by the National Health organizations, then you're not going to get any help at the moment because they're too busy dealing with COVID.
Right.
So a lot of people are suffering, with they need hip replacement operations, they need heart replacement operations, and different things, serious ailments that they have to live through. And sometimes it gets a bit frustrating for me that this lie is causing damage at so many levels, and and people are feeling, because stress creates, is what causes most ailments actually,
Yeah.
is when your thoughts are stressful, you put in those stressful thoughts into your body,
Mhm.
and that makes will create an imbalance in your body,
Yeah.
and so people's immune systems are not operating properly, their respiratory systems are not operating properly, the circulatory systems are not working properly, digestive systems are not working properly. So, it's putting an enormous amount of stress on people.
Yeah.
And uh,
I've been suggesting to people to detach from as much electronics as possible. If you can't detach from it, then learn how to shield yourself from it, right? It's very important to create a barrier. A lot of people who have, a lot of us have been moving into what I call dragon body. And it's an avatar version. Some of us are able to achieve dragon body and avatar selves and really bring that into the present moment and work from this vibration, changing your breath to clear. We don't think about it, but we can actually, with our breath, with this especially being an attack on the respiratory system and the blood, mostly it's an attack on the blood, right? This is where our DNA is, and this is where, they want to mess everything up, right? So, but connecting in to the breath, you can clear AI structures with your breath. I think in my mind, I'm using a dragon breath. You can do whatever you want because whatever you create is going to be good for you, right? So clear the lines, clear your phone lines, clear your space, clear your house, clear your body. And like Colin is saying, this does it attacks the everything, the stress attacks the body. Our organs don't just process our food and our water, it processes our thoughts, our emotions. It processes everything and everyone we come in contact with. Our organs don't just do what our medical community states that they do. It goes well beyond that. And when we begin to understand that, we can clear dis-ease from the body.
yeah,
And it's we're very powerful, but protecting our blood is extremely important. Our cells are being attacked, and our cells are being attacked through AI frequencies, and so we have to be mindful of these things and learn to protect yourself. Like I wear specific jewelry or carry rock. I mean, I like walk around with rocks in my purse, all kinds of stones, just things that'll create a protective field is like have a backup for the backup. Lyndon is saying crying for release, which can hurt um, physically, but feels rather liberating of the emotions and making room for other energies and understanding. Yeah, having a release like that. Thank you for that. Having a nice cry, a nice release really does create space. And that's ultimately what we're doing is we're pulling the darkness out. It actually dissolves when we shine the light on it. Our shadow dissolves when we look at it with a flashlight. Go in your body with an imaginary flashlight and look at all of the shadows and shine that light on it and allow it to just dissipate, allow it to dissolve. And then you bring room in for more light, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
more higher vibration for healing yourself.
yeah. I found a technique many, many years ago in 2002, I think, 2003, when I first woke up, and it's called the Maharic Seal. And when I came across it, I checked it out with my higher self, and they said, "Yeah, you do that. It's uh, very good at creating a protective shield in your auric body, in your soul body." So um, I once decided to do a video with this technique, but then I looked and I found it was copywritten. Now, how anybody can copyright something like that, I don't know.
It's always beyond me. I am always surprised at see, I'm like, how do you copyright like a consciousness? It's like I don't get it.
Yeah. So, but people can go onto YouTube and find it. It's quite freely available. But I used to do it constantly, at least 3 times a day. And then there's something called the quick seal, which is just, a couple of breaths and
Mm,
blowing. It's the Maharic colors are the pale silver, which is a mixture between the white of the 12th dimension and the dark silver of the 11th dimension. And it's those frequencies that create it. And the Maharic shield is your 12th chakra. It's shaped like a disc only 12 inches below your feet. And you can pull up the energy from that Maharic disc around your body.
beautiful.
When I say around your body, it's, our soul bodies are actually very large. And they go out further than, we imagine. Sometimes they go out for half a kilometer. And it surprises people to know how big, large their own soul body is, but it is very large. So think expansively, think, when doing the Maharic seal, blowing the energy into your auric body. I yeah, I decided not to do that technique, Maharic seal, or to record it, because I would have been breaking copyright. And even though I don't agree that you shouldn't copyright stuff like that, I
Yeah.
do want to honor the people who, copyright it.
Well, that's nice of you. But I still don't, I'd like to think that nothing would happen, right? We share things and do what we can. I've been calling in the rainbow dragons, so the dragon kings, and connecting heart center. I found that when I open up the crystal heart, um, and connect in the triple form of father, triple form of mother, and then the triple bodies of earth, Tara, Gaia, right? And connect into the heart centers. All of that really tends to I don't think I've ever felt more protected in all of my life. And then calling in the rishi and the dragons, and also connecting into the mother arc gates with mother awakening and father being present, right? To be able to hold. It's like amazing to feel like the true organic essence of father and mother, like supporting each other. And it's like, it like makes my heart expand even more. It's truly amazing. It goes beyond the idea of like a man holding a woman. It is like, it's so intense and so beautiful, and it's like the hands of God or of Father just can hold the entirety of mother, and somehow that vibrates her out, and then they like create this essence. It's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm in
But
it.
people have to do basic things as well every day.
Mhm.
And one of them is clearing your chakras, because the chakras are the transmission system for putting energy into your body. And each chakra, the first 6 chakras, are the holding centers for certain organs in your body.
Mhm.
So if you do the clearing of all your chakras every day, you can actually sometimes feel, and it's an intuitive feeling, that there's something not quite right with this chakra. And then
Right.
you'll find probably have a problem with that part of the body where that chakra is located. So, doing an activation of your chakras every day is very helpful in keeping you healthy. But there's even more basic stuff that needs to be done. And one of them is just breathing exercises. If you just take time to breathe and open your chest and feel the energy that comes into your body when you breathe, and then breathe it out slowly and play with your breath. You can breathe in deep breaths, blow out a fast, sharp breath. and you feel that the lungs, they close from the bottom, they come to the top, they come, and it's amazing how much air you can actually get into your lungs. And most people only breathe with the top half of their lungs.
Right.
They don't breathe fully with their lungs. So breathing top, middle, bottom, feel your stomach filling. And when you breathe out from the bottom, breathe then to the middle, and then
All the
so you
way
get
out. I love that. Mm-hmm. That's
all the
perfect.
air out.
I can
And that's,
picture, I can picture similar to like Wim Hof breathing. Have you done that before?
yeah, no, it's these breathing exercises are very good, and then another thing people need to do is just get a lot of fermented food into their diets, because their digestive systems are determined, the success of their digestive systems are determined by having the balance of good and bad bacteria in your stomach. So, but you need a good bacteria in your stomach, because that eats bad bacteria, and it eats bad bacteria in foods, gets rid of all the uh, bad bacteria in foods, because a lot of foods that we eat, if you're not digesting properly, they will sit in your stomach and they will rot there.
Yes.
And that rotting food in your stomach will create toxins, which then will go into the rest of your body and create problems with other parts of the body. So having good bacteria that actually munches away at the bacteria, other bad bacteria um, in your stomach is very helpful. But having good bacteria is not just for your digestive system. If you have good bacteria in your stomach, it will improve your breath. It will improve your body odors, because you're not pushing out many toxins. So people need a balance of a lot of fermented foods in their diet.
I've been
And
loving this. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. This sauerkraut, like jarred sauerkraut with like garlic in it. I don't know. It's just been kind of one of my favorites lately. Put a little jalapeno in it if you're feeling crazy, right?
yeah, because the body has two brains. The one is the brain in the head, and the other is the brain in the stomach,
Mm-hmm.
and they're directly connected to each other. When
Yes.
you eat something, the brain in the stomach says, "This is what's in my stomach," and tells your brain, and your head brain says, "Well, this is what you need to create in your stomach and do with that food in order to get the best nourishment out of it." And your stomach can what's the word I'm looking for? Can convert foods in your stomach to what the brain is telling it it needs.
Yes.
So you create the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. And that's a process called, I don't know if you can help me out on this one. Um,
I don't know what the process is called, but it creates an uptake in,
it's like in the nighttime flowers absorb, daytime they absorb carbon monoxide, and at night they breathe out oxygen. That sort of process.
synthesis. It's like a,
Syn- syn-
thank you.
Synthesis.
Yes.
That's
Yes. It's a, yes. Um, you know, when you were talking about how people breathe, the massage therapist in me comes out because I see people with tight shoulders, muscles, all these things from not taking the proper breaths. And so one of the things to do, like one of my favorite muscles to work on is the diaphragm. It's a free floating muscle, right? And it gets really stuck with fascial tissue, and we really need to be breathing from our diaphragm. So a way to practice this, take like a little bag of rice or just something with a little bit of weight and put it on your belly button and only breathe for a while, watching your abdomen move up and down. And if you're on your back, you're going to want to lay on your back and put your feet flat on the floor so your knees are bent. And you can actually take your fingertips, like the tips of your fingers, really gently and curve around inside your rib cage. And you'll kind of curve around it and push back. And then allow your fingers to slide around your rib cage all the way up around your sternum and back down the other side. And this will create a release of the diaphragm, and you'll be able to breathe much, much better. It's one of my favorite things to work on with people who are having breathing issues. Just begin to, make that part of your routine. Just getting in there and loosening that muscle alone will create more breath to get in, to be able to do the technique that Colin was showing about how you go into the different areas of the chest, right? And being able to hold that because you're expanding the lungs. It's really uncomfortable, don't get me wrong. It's not going to feel nice at first, including the breathing exercises that Colin was doing, but pretty soon it will, and then it'll be so expansive, and it's a game changer.
Absolutely. And then for respiratory, not respiratory, circulation problems, people having problem with circulation, there's an extract called pine bark extract, which is
Pine bark.
pine bark, yeah, very, very good. It goes through your arteries and veins and just clears out a lot of the rubbish that's there. And then there's another one called serrapeptase. It's SERRAPEPTA, serrapeptide, TIDE. There's a product on the market called serrapeptase, but it's serrapeptides. Now it's an extract from silkworms, and it also does it clears out the arteries and veins. So if people are having numbness in their body, different parts of their body, or they're finding that the blood's not getting down to their feet, swollen feet, and so on, serrapeptides is what they need.
Beautiful. And pump your calves, even if you're just squeezing your calves, right? This is like another heartbeat space, right? Just
Yeah.
Keep your calves moving, massage them yourself, whatever you need to do to get that moving back up the body.
Yeah, massaging self is very important. It does really work very well.
Mhm. Yeah, and then that's gonna then that's gonna take you to learning how to like know a little bit about the lymphatic system, right? Because that's gonna pull the toxins out of the body. Because the more you're breathing, the more you're moving, right? The better you're eating, the more toxins are gonna come out of your body. And so there are dump sites. I call them dump sites. There you're gonna find one in the popliteal behind the knee. So there's a dump site behind the knee, one on either side of the groin area. So right where your legs are connecting into your groin there. Then you're going to have them underneath the armpits, right? So there's a dump site there. And then finally up here, there's a dump site here. And so, knowing a little bit about like where it could build up, where you could get swollen or uncomfortable, and make sure, your lymphatic system is working correctly.
Yeah, and the tapping routine also works very well.
Yes.
It's a
Dry,
great.
I love dry brushing. Get a natural bristle. Don't get it wet. You're not going to do this in the shower, but you're going to get a natural bristle brush. I like the Yerba brushes, YERBA, Yerba. They're very affordable. And you do small circles starting the furthest away from your heart. So you would start with your feet, right? Or your hands, and you move always towards the heart. Okay. So not only does this exfoliate your skin, which is the largest organ on your body for detoxing, right? So it's going to exfoliate your skin, but activate your lymphatic system.
Yeah, great. Wow, we've covered a lot of areas. And I think just relaxing and people just going outdoors and being with nature is very important. Um, I tore my Achilles tendon earlier this year, and so I couldn't walk very far. So I stopped walking because I used to do a daily walk, and but I'm starting to walk in nature again, and it makes a world of difference. Just to look at plants and just be there with them. Because I talk to plants, I'm a tree hugger.
I love it. Yes, I absolutely love that. I think there was a long time I hadn't been able to be in nature. I had missed most of my camping that I used to do and all of that stuff, and starting a new practice and doing all the things and having a baby. right, in my 40s, and just it's just changed it. And then the first time I went to be in nature, I sobbed uncontrollably. Just to sit on the rock and hear the river and put my feet in the water and listen to the trees, I just was like, oh, how I've missed thee. I just, oh, I just cried and cried and cried and just allowed the river to just take it all away, just transmute
Yeah,
it back. It was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Because we have more in common with nature than we do with civilized living, you know.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And they're attacking our nature creatures, right? So it's not just us that are suffering from parasites and viruses, and they're attacking uh, our animals, they're attacking our earth, they're depleting our soils. They're doing everything they can, and just mother is crying out like, I need love, I need support. Let's work together. And that's part of this awakening process as well, is connecting back in. It's about making those heart connections and feeling the love from planet, feeling the love from the trees, and understanding that we are all connected. And that's what's going to rejuvenate our world, right? Is
Yeah,
remembering.
yeah. Yesterday, and most of today, I stayed away from the internet and from social media, and I actually watched a lot of sport this weekend because uh, there's a lot of good rugby on and a lot of good cricket on,
Lovely.
and
That's good. That's good.
and
It's good to do something different.
it was nice and relaxing, get away from and just go outside, enjoy the sun. We had a beautiful sunny day today. It felt more like summer. I'm wearing a t-shirt, which is really in the middle of winter. So it was a beautiful day. The blue sky was just amazing.
Oh, I love it. We've had lots of blue sky. We've had lots of uh, ships. I've seen lots of ships in the sky, lots of different fleets. There was a picture I took, and I thought, gosh, these clouds don't look like real clouds. They look like generated, computer animated, like they almost looked cartoonish. It was so strange, with like a really flat bottom. I took some
Yeah,
pictures of them, and I thought, hmm. And then a girlfriend of mine, right up here in Seattle, right by our Mother Art Gate, she filmed um, uh, several several ships, and then she filmed one where lights were just going, 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 plain as day. There's no other explanation for what this is, right? So,
yeah,
and then we were getting some news that yeah, some beings are here, and there's a lot moving through all of the vortexes, the energy vortexes, and a lot of planetary cleanup is happening. And so um,
yeah,
a lot of shifts, a lot of shifts with their alien machinery and their fake resonances. And
yeah,
I'm so jazzed about it. I just can't stand myself.
yeah.
It's a
And
lot of work for our bodies.
yeah, and as far as Earth matters are going, I think the big one is going to be um, the Maricopa County audit. But I've been told that they're going to do their best um, to jeopardize that whole situation. So expect a false flag.
Exactly. I'm waiting for it. I'm assuming it'll be blue beam technology of sorts, or something else, right? But something a little more nefarious, because that would be a little too big and obvious, right? Um, but they're already prepping us out here for uh, how it's going to be incorrect. They're already basically saying what you're going to hear is a lie, right? So
Yeah,
I find that fascinating. I'm like, oh, is it? Okay, let's see what they're going to tell us then. Let's see.
yeah. And then after that, there are going to be a lot of other disclosures as well.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just gaining such momentum. You know, the number of protesters there were in London recently were, they said, nearly 1 million people, and the mainstream media said there were a few thousand.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Like they're just gonna keep muzzling us as long as they can, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you know what I love is you can see the star seeds planted in the media, right? The ones that are rising up and standing up and I forget who this woman was, but she like did a quick blurb before she went on with her thing, right? Because it was live. So she was like, said it really fast, got it out there, and was like, and then you're gonna find me over here because clearly she's gonna lose her job, right? I love it.
yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
right on.
That was the latest Project Veritas
Yeah.
uh, whistleblower.
Yep.
Yeah, and they had one recently as well. Another one that was with Facebook, and he also lost his job. But that's fine because they did crowdfunding for them, and they raised nearly $1 million. I understand for the whistleblower. So
Wow.
how to become a millionaire? Blow the whistle.
Right. Exactly. So what are your thoughts, Colin, on with this next false flag? What are your thoughts on there being a different type of mutation and them saying this is a real pandemic now and lockdowns happening again? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what they're going to do, it's going to be some kind of nuclear attack somewhere. They're going to let off a nuclear device, and but I'm not sure whether it's going to happen. But there are certain places that I'm willing to bet they're on the target. Uh, Washington, the, London, um,
Vatican.
Vatican, um, but also somewhere near the California to try to get the what's the vault fault system there in California.
The there
There's a there's a fault line in California.
Oh, let's see, where are our California people here? I know what fault line you're talking about. Um, and that's the one that theoretically, if activated, is going to create that massive tidal wave and take out the entire western side.
Seaport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so and that's been talked about for a while. So, ooh, that's a really good one to think about, making sure we stay inland as much as possible here. Um, go ahead.
of course, this next false flag's got to be a big one, so they can divert attention from the Maricopa County election fraud.
Yep.
But having said that, the reason I know that is because our off-planetary family, the Guardian Alliance and the Earth Alliance, know what's going on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're going to try to circumvent it, and because a nuclear attack would be a devastating thing on our planet, not just for the people, but for the planet itself,
Mhm.
because it sets off a chain reaction that is really unpredictable how it's going to react, and it creates all kinds of hazardous material in the atmosphere. It creates a lot of devastation. So uh, that I'm just telling you what they want to do, but I have a good feeling that they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you to Sharon and Diana. It's the San Andreas fault. San Andreas.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is really interesting. There are some people that have talked about, and let's see, like Jessie um, Zabar. I don't know how to say her last name, so I apologize if I butchered that. But she talks about pretty openly about an Emerald City under Washington, D.C. And I was currently doing some remote work, and I was seeing uh, it's interesting that the underground would be called Emerald City. And where I am in Washington, in Seattle, we're called the Emerald City. And I actually saw some machinery attached into there, in from our Emerald City to Washington, D.C., which of course, goes out to London and the Vatican, with some overlays of some people that I'm not going to mention, but maybe it might be some not so good guys, right? And
Yeah,
uh, and I was kind of seeing, because of the techie stuff, uh you washing, like I always say, I'm on a hell mouth here, right? We've got Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing, um like I feel like, what don't we have here? And so there's like something going on here, which is why we're seeing ships, which is why all this other stuff is happening. So um I really and then I've been seeing some Schumann resonance and some beacons placed in the planet. It's really interesting that you're bringing up the San Andreas Fault, and perhaps something nuclear. So it might be something to like uh, go in and do a meditative session, and another remote view on that, to
yeah,
see how that all pieces together.
yeah. But other than that, I don't. Not going to say other than that, it's nothing else planned.
Mhm.
That's a big one if it comes off of them, but I don't think it's going to come off.
No big deal.
Nah, we got it covered. You
Yeah.
know, there is, my higher self has given me a lot of assurances about what's happening, and I can just tell people, that there is another timeline running, and all the things we want to happen are happening on that timeline. And soon the two timelines are going to blend together, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether it's in the past or in the future,
Where it
uh,
intersects.
of a parallel timeline, which point in time we actually get um, uh, blended in together with that timeline. But my sense is that it's going to happen pretty soon, because I've also just been feeding a lot of energy around these days. In my own energy body, I've often felt drained of energy. I've sometimes felt like I did the other day. I was frustrated and angry and cried a lot. And so we're all going through these different energy changes in our bodies and in our environment, in our minds and thoughts. But I just encourage people to hold firm, don't give up, um, stay true to yourself, stay true to your values and standards, stay in integrity with yourself, as much as you can. People are being compromised these days because some people are losing their jobs because they haven't got the jab, or they've been told they're going to lose their job if they don't get the jab. And that can be a pretty scary proposition for some
Very,
people who've got
very
family.
scary.
Yeah. So, it's I know it's difficult, but I would advise people, like I heard today of an athlete in the United States who's a football player, just said that he would rather lose his job than take the vaccine.
Oh, bless.
Well, good for you.
I know, right? And I know that decisions are very challenging to make, and we fear what we don't know, right? And for me, I'd rather quit my job, have nowhere to live, and no way to have money than to put that in my body, because I have faith in myself, my own abilities, that it would all work out. Um, you know, no education, no college, no school, no job, no nothing is going to uh, back me into a corner to make me feel like I have to do something like that. But that's me, that's me staying in my own integrity. And I face my fears, and I encourage everybody, no matter how, even if you're in a position where you have to do that, or you feel like that's the choice you have, face your fears and do it in integrity, right? Knowing that um, knowing that you're making the best decision, that you can make in that moment. And that's all we can do. Um, and that's what integrity is. That's what spiritual growth is, right? Making the best decision that you can with the information that you have in that moment, every single day, in every single moment.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We live in exciting times.
And yeah, and I don't know so much. I hear you say there's an energy drain, but I really feel like it's not a siphoning energy, right? This is really like a rebuilding of the structures.
Yeah,
So very, very tiring, which is another reminder, Colin, to eat well, take care of your body, stretch, breathe, right? Because what's coming in is something that we've not processed uh, in thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? So uh, we're moving into crystalline or crystalline, however you say that, structures. Our spirit is uh, going to be able to take over the functioning of our organs, of our physical body, and that means we're dropping carbon bodies, right? So our body is literally it's literally changing. We're dropping density. We're going from carbon to crystalline structures, and that is a lot of work. It's
yeah,
a lot of work.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's been done in such a short space of time.
Yeah,
That process will take 25,000 years, but we having it done in 24, well, 33 years,
yeah,
from 2012 to 2045.
yeah.
And it takes a lot of energy out of people to do that.
It does. It does.
It's like a transmutation from the worm in the cocoon to a butterfly. You know, that takes an enormous amount of energy to happen.
Mhm. Now that's making me think of A Bug's Life. I don't know if you've ever seen A Bug's Life. It's a Disney movie. And this caterpillar, he's the chubbiest, cutest little caterpillar ever. And all he wants to do is become a butterfly. And so he goes into his cocoon and he turns into a butterfly, but he's still super, super fat and chubby. And he's got these itty bitty little butterfly wings. And he's so excited about becoming a butterfly. It doesn't matter how big his wings are. He's just so jazzed that he did it, right? And so hold no judgment upon the transformation, I guess, is the message there, because it's the
Yeah,
joy. It's the journey, right? It's
yeah.
the journey.
It's not really the size of the wings, it's the energy within the body. Like
Yes.
the bee, according to the laws of aerodynamics, the bumblebee isn't capable of flying. They just forgot to tell the bumblebee.
Yes. The bumblebee was not told it cannot fly. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's amazing. I love it. A lot of bee spirit coming in too. A lot of bee spirit. Um, so, listen, pay attention to what's going on around you, because everything is talking to you. And they all have a message, and it'll always be in divine timing. That's what I see. That's what I trust and believe in.
yeah.
So there it
I
is.
just I just would like to take a moment to apologize to my students that I haven't been putting out as much work as I normally do, because we've had these terrible blackouts in South Africa, where sometimes for 7.5 hours every day you don't have electricity, and that causes a lot of chaos. It's not 7 hours, in one stretch. They break it down into sections, but effectively, but every time it happens, you've got to boot up your computer, you've got to do certain checks on it to make sure that, there's no damage. And sometimes there is damage on the computer. And it's just such time wasting effort. And then I've got to do all the other things I've got to do, with the time that I've been given
Right?
on my computer. But I bought an inverter on Friday, and I bought a battery. So I've got an inverter and battery now. I haven't rigged it up yet to work. I tried it out yesterday, but without too much success, because I don't think I charged the battery up enough. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm working on that. So I can live, for a couple of hours without electricity and still be productive.
Well, thank you for that. I'm sure that your students completely understand. Um, Not even without power outages, things are going crazy. I really think that they're taking back over the structures, and it's going to be part of the process, reintegrating. They have to take back the AI. It's there, right? So it has to be reconfigured. And I've had people's emails and miscommunications and all kinds of things get lost. And some people get pissed off about it. And then they go along their way. And it's like, okay, well, I hope you have an amazing day. And, sorry for the confusion. And then some people are like, no big deal. Like, I get it. It's happening to them too. And they're able to recognize that, we're going through some interesting times. And it just apply it's we just need more patience, right? We ask for patience, here it is, it's showing up, it's teaching us, and so we're just going to um, roll with the punches.
Yeah, yeah. And anger is such a useless emotion. There's no
Yeah,
point in getting angry with anything.
it really is, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
drainer. Anger is a drainer, and it flares up fast, right?
yeah, yeah. There's so much anger around that. We have to be the peacemakers in this world. And bring peace into dangerous situations.
Hmm.
And we're doing it. We're doing it.
We are. We are.
Yeah.
Well, now's a good time, you guys, to catch up with Colin's classes and writings. And that would be the writings of colinjoe.com. He's also on Patreon. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm busy with uh, the third video on the structure of the soul, and it's part of the mechanics of healing course. And when I'm finished the third one, I'm going to release publicly um, some techniques for, first of all, realigning your Merkaba fields and getting your spin speeds right. And then I'm going to be releasing the activation of the chakras
Mm.
and sequence and the toning, the colors that you can use. And then I'm going then these three will come out together. Then the third one will be opening up your meridian lines in your body, because your Merkaba field is the energy generator. Your chakras are the transmission system, and the what they call meridian lines, but they also call the um, Katharia grids.
Right.
Okay, and these meridian lines are the distribution of the energy through to your body. So
Yep.
I'm going to be doing those three so that people can align their Merkabas, correct their chakras, and learn to do it on a regular basis. And then also how to open up the meridian lines in the body so that the energy can work its way through the body.
Beautiful.
And the meridian lines are what the acupuncturists use. It's an ancient Chinese healing modality that works really well.
It does work. It works very well. And
Yeah,
I love that you're going to do that. I put little Merkabas in my meridian points, right? So just to give it that extra open spin, and which there are a lot, right? Go ahead and just for fun look up, meridians in the body. And
yeah,
a fun thing to note is the gallbladder meridian crosses the physical into the astral. So that one's really, that one gets attacked. That's where a lot of holographic inserts can be put in, and a lot of crazy attacks can happen through there. So good
yeah,
one to keep clean, good one to stay on top of, right?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Because there are a lot of
okay.
toxins in the
Yeah,
gallbladder.
gosh, what an amazing, mellow, beautiful chat we had today. Thank you, Colin. Um, thank you everybody who popped on live, and everybody who will watch afterwards. We're just sending you so much love. I'm sending you so much love, Colin. I love our Sundays.
Yeah, me too. So I'm very, very pleased to be here. And people can get my work on my website, the writings of colinjoe.com. And the books there, there's an enormous amount of free information. I want to tell people about that, because you can spend hours on my website just reading through free information. Then I've got books and I've got my courses, and there's so much material there that I really encourage people to go there and look at it.
And going
And
back, even once you've gone through it, going back, because when things have cleared out of your body and you understand it, you go back and you hear it, see it, and feel it different every single time. It's just, it never fails, right? Because it works from the 0 point. And
yeah,
it's really fascinating how that works. It's a little bit trippy too. So you can
yeah,
keep going back to a session over and over again and get something new out of it every time. So I love it.
yeah.
Love it.
Yes,
All right. Okay. So much love to you.
and love to you. Bye-bye.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.